Hello, my friends, and welcome to a brand new episode, a bonus episode of Discourse in Magic. This is episode 198, and it is all about our 2020 New Year's Magic resolutions. Every year of this podcast, we do kind of a New Year's Magic resolution episode. I used to do it with Tyler, and last year I did something special. I brought on a little chunk of the Toronto Magic community, Ben Train, Chris Mayhew, Jacque Swan, and myself. And we spoke about some of the things that we liked about the previous year, some of the things we did not like about the previous year, and our goals for the next year, for what was 2019. And we basically did the exact same thing this year, except for 2020. We talked about all the good things about 2019, all the bad things about 2019, and all of our New Year's Magic resolutions for 2020. But this year we had the added bonus of being able to look back and see exactly what it was that we saw, to look back and see exactly what it was that we said last year and see if we fulfilled our New Year's Magic resolution. So it was a lovely episode. I think you're going to love it. Two things to keep in mind. Number one, there ended up being a drinking game with the word hat. So every time I say hat, you can take a drink. And number two, please let me know what is your 2020 New Year's Magic resolution. Post it anywhere. Just make sure you tag at Discourse in Magic so I can take a peek. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoy it. Here it is, episode 198, a bonus episode with the squad. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah Babbins, and we are here with a Toronto crew. We did this last year. We did New Year's Magic resolutions. We've been doing it for a while for the podcast, and last year we gathered together some Toronto magicians, some that I like and some that I hate, and we decided to talk about some of the things that went right in the previous year, some of the things that went wrong in the previous year, and some of the things that we hope to change. And now we not only get to do that again, but also reflect on some of the things that have happened last year, maybe give some people some words of wisdom, and we all still have that new year feel to us, and we're all really excited for what's to come. So I guess to start the beginning, maybe for people who don't even know who we all are, to quickly introduce ourselves, I'm Jonah. You know me. If you don't, go listen to another episode. There'll be more about me.
I'm Jackie. I'm the editor of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm Chris Mayhew. I am a friend of Jonah and Jackie's.
And I am Ben Train, and I am Jonah's housemate and roommate and sometimes bedmate.
That's not true.
I should say, Jacque Swan is my last name, if that matters.
Jacque Swan, Chris Mayhew, Ben Train, and Jonah Babbins. And not only are we all friends, we spend a lot of time together, we do a lot of magic together, but most excitingly, we're all real active members of this Toronto Magic community and doing interesting things. Everybody here performs quite a bit on Toronto Magic Company shows, like the newest Trick in the Book. You've all been on Art of Magic shows and also done incredible stuff outside of what the Toronto Magic Company is doing, really being plugged into the city and the world of magic entirely. So super excited. We've got some real magic players sitting at this table. So before we get into any of the specifics, let's talk about the last year. How do you guys feel about 2019 in terms of magic?
Let's start with you, though, Chris. How was your...
Damn it!
Tell us magic in 2019.
Okay, magic in 2019 was good. Honestly, I performed a lot more, and you guys gave me a bunch of opportunities on Art of Magic and the newest trick.
You did a featured spot, and you did a headline spot on different shows.
I did, and it was honestly just great to get back into that playground and explore all the ideas run around the head. But magic generally for 2019, I think was really interesting. A lot of crazy things came out this year as far as like magic content and magic tricks goes. Too much that I can't even think of one thing because there's so much. Did you
start working with Lost Art in 2019, or
I did. I started working with Lost Art in 2019 at the beginning.
So I guess you've plugged in quite a bit more in the last year to the world of magic content.
I've definitely had to pay attention a lot more and kind of just involve myself in that world. There's a lot of material coming out, and it's really interesting to see, what material makes it into the marketplace of magic and what kind of sticks there in the psyche, because there's a lot of things coming out, but only so many things actually stick and get paid attention to.
Get traction.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, so it's been really interesting just learning or not even learning, but just seeing all this new material because I've been out of it for so long. Before that, I kind of took a step back from the Magic marketplace just because there's so much happening. I was like, it's too overwhelming. But to having to run a company, you have to now see what's out there. So,
anything else stick out as being really interesting or unique or fun things for you, Magic-wise, in 2019?
no, honestly, just the amount of tricks.
Great.
That's really
Ben,
about Ben.
what's your feelings about Magic 2019 in general?
Whoa, okay. I haven't really had any time to think this one through. So this was, okay, it was a year of sort of very incremental growth in certain areas and stagnation in other areas and a refocusing near the end of the year. And I don't want it to sound negative. There were difficulties and challenges this year for me in terms of my relationship with Magic, but it was positive in many ways. And even the areas where I felt that there were some challenges, and I know we're going to go more in depth into stuff later, but even the areas where I felt challenges, I've had some time to think about them now, and I think that they mean good things moving forward in 2020. So, it's sort of like momentum. You if things come down, it's so that they gain
Like
more
the
energy,
arrow is
so they
being
can shoot
pulled
up.
back
Exactly,
so that it can release. I love it.
You spring, take a step backwards so you can spring forward with more power, So I think 2019 in some ways was like that step back in some ways, but now 2020 is the
Come in
knockout
with
punch.
power.
So like,
I love it.
yeah.
I'm going to skip me and go right to Jackie, just because you thought you had time. Jackie, generally, what was 2019 Magic like for you?
I guess for me, Magic was, I did a lot of things that I never really expected I would be doing. Like, it was a very busy year for me in terms of, like, looking back on it, full of Magic. I don't even know how to phrase it. Like, I performed on the Bash lineup. I won an award. I did your guys' shows, like Art of Magic. I performed on variety shows around the city.
You hosted Magic shows.
I hosted Magic shows. I put together an all-female lineup for Magic shows.
You helped produce events.
I did a Magic video with you guys.
Oh yeah,
I did Slight Club.
So
Like, I went to Boston to see friends, and I guess even Magi Fest last year fell into that. Like, it was a very...
Feel like a real life magician?
I feel like a very real life magician, which is something I would not have expected at the beginning of 2019 or in 2018, right? It's not where I thought I would be going with Magic, so it's an unexpected year.
Right.
Jackie caught the bug.
Well, Jackie, you are now officially in the Magic family.
Yes, you're in.
The most beautiful thing about Magic is the community, I find.
It really
And
is.
so for me, it's always been so invaluable to just venture around the world and have this community with open arms accept you and just bring you in and show you their amazing city. And so you got to experience a little bit of that, going to Boston and having your friends show you their city.
Totally.
And so for me, Magic and traveling are the two things that go so amazing together. And so to see you guys start experiencing that is really awesome because it's something that Ben and I have been playing around in for so many years, and it's great to just see everybody get to share this experience.
With that, Jonah, what was Magic
you
in
asked.
2019? Wasn't prompted at all.
It's actually funny, Chris, that you brought up traveling, but that was a real thing that stuck out for me. There was kind of a moment like a month ago or 2 months ago where I was like, holy crap, I travel a lot to do Magic. Like, I on tour, I go in the summer on a tour. It was the biggest year that it ever was. And like, usually what I call it a tour, but I kind of like go to a camp and then go home for a half a day to do laundry and then go to a camp and go home. And this year I didn't really do that. I kind of went and I went to 2 or 3 or 4 and then I went to a resort and then a cottage and then I came home and then I went up to another camp and it was really like, it was quite busy.
It was a trip.
Yeah, and then I went to Boston for Magic, Austin for Magic, New York for Magic multiple times, Spain for a secret project, which everyone will know about very, very soon. And it felt really cool to go around the world doing Magic and to be proud of what I'm doing here and what I'm doing around the world, to be able to share with people like, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing for the world of Magic. And so that felt really good in terms of me personally. For the Toronto Magic Company, it's just been awesome. And like, I think I've been very happy with a lot of the programming that we did, like really across the board. And I think that, to echo some of the things that Ben said, which is my only challenge with it was that I felt we weren't growing fast enough. That things were happening, but not happening at the rate that I thought they should. And I think with that pain or with that feeling came, that pulling back of the arrow, and coming towards 2020, we're being quite ambitious with, the events that we're doing, and quite ambitious with our growth and the speed that we're bringing Magic to the city and the quality and everything like that. So that's quite exciting to me. And again, was so proud of what we did. I just want it to be bigger and better and more, and I think we can do it. And then I'm just, I don't know, it's hard for me to talk about this podcast because it is, it's kind of meta, but I just love that it still exists. And I got on some of my favorite magicians on the planet in the last year, and I got to connect with people that I never imagined that I would connect with. And like, I'm so grateful, and I just cannot even, I wish I would have recorded or wrote down my feelings starting this, because I feel like it has surpassed all expectations, and I would love to actually know what my expectations were,
That's cool.
3.5 years ago. Because now I look back and I'm like, what else could this thing do? Like, this is amazing. It's so much fun for me. It's letting me travel the world and meet incredible people. So let's actually get into it. So I know we spoke a little bit about briefly what happened in 2019, but now let's kind of talk about some highlights. So what kind of things really stuck out to you in 2019 for either things that you are personally proud of that you did or you were a part of, or things that happened alongside you in this community that you're happy to see?
For me,
Do you want to start?
Yeah, for me it's easy. The Toronto Magic Company projects.
Yeah.
I mean, many years ago, the first project I ever really got involved with, I was like 18 years old, and I started organizing lecture tours. And the idea was I would reach out to people I was really excited by. I would bring them into the city and then spend time, usually traveling with them to different cities, but so that I could spend time learning from these people I admired. Mm-hmm. And now, all these years later, that's what the Toronto Magic Company is letting me do, except instead of lecture tours with these guys, I'm watching them do shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so
plus you're old now. You don't want to travel around. You want them to come to your house.
They can stay with us. Like, Chris mentioned how cool it is that we got to travel and get to travel the world and stay with like the amazing people in our community, because there's magicians all over the world that we get, and thanks to the internet, we can reach out and we have friends, and all of us do. But now we get to, when people come to Toronto, they can sort of spend time with us, and we can share our city with them, so we can reciprocate. The TMC shows have been highlights for me, man. Like, the last year we got to bring in some incredible people. We put on some great shows, and I'm proud of the shows that we put on. So we talk about sharing great magic with the city, and I legitimately, honestly, if you put me under a lie detector and you were like, do you think the shows that you put on are good for magic and showcase magic well? I can be like, I absolutely do. Yeah. I think the marketing is fun and cool. I think the shows are fun and cool. I think the magicians we bring are awesome. I think we bring in original. We have such great people. We have original content on stage, So it's really eye-opening to see what's out there. And I'm excited for 2020, but 2019 for me, that was a major highlight.
I agree.
So all the shows we did.
Mayhew?
Yeah. 2019 highlights in Magic. For me, well, as we had mentioned before, I had the opportunity to start helping run a company called Lost Art Magic. And so a highlight for me has just been learning the business side of the magic market and world. Mm-hmm. I've been a content creator on it for so long, creating magic tricks for magic companies to go sell and release. It was really kind of a interesting change of being the one that gets to curate the magic tricks and release the magic tricks out into the market has really been a really cool and interesting learning experience, because it's just something that I never thought I'd be doing. First of all, I thought I'd always just be the one creating the magic. And so that's just been a big highlight, learning that side of the magic industry. And then not only that, but getting to see all of the really cool ideas that people, send to us, and seeing the ones that really kind of spark an idea and go, we could do something with this mm-hmm. because it's, got something very creative or something clever to it that I haven't seen before. And then also on the performance side of things, just getting back on the performance horse and getting out there mm-hmm. and developing material on stage again. Last year, I had taken a break from performance.
Or 2018.
I guess so. Yeah, 2018.
2 years,
to be honest, it's been more than 2 years, but I took a break from performing magic just to kind of regroup myself and figure out who the hell I was and what I wanted to be doing. And so 2019 was a big year for personal growth, and it allowed me to kind of get confidence in myself again and go out there and share magic on the stage.
Great.
And you guys were the ones that really gave me that opportunity to explore that world again, because it's one of these things where, I'll get random gigs that come to me, and I always love the random close-up gigs or whatever, but stand-up magic is really where the playground is most explorative for your imagination. And so you guys gave me multiple opportunities to just get out there and share my stuff, so I thank you guys for that. But yeah, those are two big highlights, I would say.
We're excited to share your magic with the world, and I love that you said that, because I loved watching you perform this year and do cool stuff and do really interesting magic, I think.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonah?
I thought I was going to be able to give it to Jackie first and have time to think about it.
Too late, you've been called out.
Okay, well, I guess I really was really happy with the Toronto Magic Company. I echo a lot of the things that Ben said. I know I mentioned earlier about really wanting the growth, but I think that's just me. I don't think I'll ever be happy with the speed. You know what I mean? I think I always want things to go bigger and faster and better,
right.
because I think we can. But I agree. I was really happy with the magic that we shared with the city, and I'm happy to be doing many different things in magic. It was very exciting to me to be able to be interviewing people, to produce shows, to perform in shows. I feel like I feel like it's even hard to put a title on what I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm a magician. Sometimes I feel like I'm an artist. Sometimes I feel like I'm an online internet marketer. Sometimes I feel like I'm a copywriter. Sometimes I feel
you're a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I never thought if you would have told me 4 years ago that I would be doing any of these things, let alone all of these things, it would be baffling. So I'm really excited for it, and I don't know. I guess the whole year was a real highlight, because I think, I don't know, I felt quite good about doing different things and trying my hand in different parts of magic. Hi, Margaret. Jackie, what about you?
Before you jump over, it's also worth noting you also had a lot of you did a lot of amazing things outside of TMC this year too, in your own professional sort of career, you were talking about the touring and other stuff. You did a lot this year.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I felt like I was a touring performing magician, and then I also felt like I was a journalist, literally traveling the world to interview people. And I felt like I managed an entire company, and I felt, I have employees that it feels like I have no idea what's happening and where this is going. And
but it's unfolding.
I wear lots of hats, and all I don't do is work at the hat store. So I wish I did. What about you, Jackie?
Embrace the
I guess the highlight for me is the amount of performing I did, because I never really saw myself on stage before. Also, just on that note, my hands don't shake when I go on stage anymore, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
And then, it's a minor thing, but also I have two... Well, no, the hands not shaking is a huge thing now, but it's a minor thing, but I have, I guess, two routines that I love to do, which is... That's the Matrix and my card stab. I love those
Which
routines.
fools me still. I
have a card stab that fools me. That's all I need in life.
I still don't see what the hell happened.
But it was interesting about those two is those are the two effects that I worked really hard with other people. There's a lot of input from the community. The card stab, I came up with Ben one night where he put my heels on and showed me some ideas he had. And
I wear heels a lot.
He wears my heels. I'll post a photo.
There are a lot of photos.
It's hard to walk in heels.
And I don't know how I feel that Ben is able to wear the same heels that I wear on stage, the exact same pair.
I have very tiny hands.
He has his own heels. Hands. You wear heels on your feet.
Heel stands, man.
But just knowing that the community had input on these two things that I love to do is a big thing, right? So
I remember
2
years ago or 3 years ago, probably closer to 3 years ago, when I started performing weekly with Ben at Dave & Buster's, and I was opening for him, and I remember it was a few weeks in, and I was right before going on stage, and he was like, "Kill it out there," and I was like, "I have a question. Do you enjoy this?" And he was like, "What?" And I was like, do you like this? Do you like going on stage and just beating your head against the wall. Like, do you like it? And he said, you will. Like, you'll like it. And I did. And it's funny to have you kind of be mentioning the same thing and say, like, I never thought I'd be on stage and not hating the entire process and, like, now just, like, loving it. And,
like, if you put the work in, eventually they laugh at your jokes. And, like, like, if you put the work in, right? But they'll eventually laugh at your jokes. And it's nice
or
when
they'll
a
laugh
room
at
laughs.
you.
Listen, as long as you get the laughs, I'll do whatever.
No, I think there's, like, an interesting kind of just mentality, you know, when performing that I think is sometimes hard to wrap your head around, and it's taken me a while, where before, you know, any type of performance always was just looming over my head, and I was like, oh God, there's this performance coming up, I gotta go get out there and do this thing. And it, you know, it really kind of, for some weird reason, I didn't look forward to the performance, right? When it happens and it did it, you're in the zone and you like it, but it was like all the anticipation leading up would always get to me. And then I started to take this different approach where, I don't know, is because maybe I took the hiatus or the break, I became very grateful that suddenly there was an opportunity for me to perform. And so I got suddenly excited for, you know, the show coming up, because I was yearning to share, you know, some kind of trick or that I wanted to do. And so it's this weird kind of mind switch, right? Where you can look at it as this daunting thing that's going to loom over your head and bring you down, or you can kind of get excited for the opportunity that you didn't have before and look at it that way, right? So there's a couple different ways you can attack it with your mindset that I find interesting.
And I feel both sides of it. I feel being real anxious to perform and really excited to perform, and performing too much and too little, and, you know, all of it kind of has an effect. Before we talk about some of the lowlights and some of the struggles from 2019, I'm going to read you back your highlights from the very end of 2018, and we'll see how that reflected compared to this year. So Ben, you said the shows that you put on through the Toronto Magic Company were a highlight. You're proud of what they were able to accomplish and how the company developed throughout the year. And as a personal highlight, you were honored to have been able to perform at the Chicago Magic Lounge. How do you feel about last year's highlights compared to this year's highlights?
Yeah, those were highlights last year, or in 2018 for sure. And I am still, in 2019, still very proud of Toronto Magic Company. I think we're doing bigger and better things every year. So I'm excited, again, to keep going forward. And it's, looking back at my highlights from last year, I didn't feel like I felt like all the highlights came from the Toronto Magic Company. I was still doing shows, but I didn't feel like there was a lot of growth in my business personally with my personal show. I was still doing a lot of the same stuff. I made a few tweaks and things, but didn't really change the things I wanted. Really, the things that were exciting me were building this company and putting on the shows and events and stuff like that. Yeah, I think the highlights were, the Toronto Magic Company, and it's helped me refocus what I'm doing in 2020 and where I'm focusing priorities and energy so that I can get the most out of things, and also so I can build and grow the things that I want to build and grow.
Great. Chris, yours at the end of 2018 was consulting on your first TV show called The Disillusionist, which was a big highlight. And not only did you get to marry your passions of filming and magic, but you're able to see how to execute a major project. Your second highlight was finally seeing the fruits of your labor come to fruition and finally release a deck of cards, Leon playing cards, which is crazy that was now more than a year ago. How do you feel about your highlights this year compared to last year and your trajectory?
Oh yeah, honestly, this year, again, different kind of goals, I think, in mind this year. But having the opportunity to curate Magic and release multiple Magic projects into the marketplace, I think, it was really, really amazing. And that's kind of, you know, the Leon cards was sort of a great stepping stone in that, to put those out and now attack the Magic world and do that. As far as Magic and performance goes and consulting and stuff, what's really great is that the relationships I built with the team on the Thrillusionists has only grown and bloomed and gone more. And it's one of these things where Stu, who was the creator of the Thrillusionists, co-creator with Adam, he's become one of my favorite people to just like go and jam and hang out with. And I think a huge thing for me this year was I've always kind of helped him with magic for his show, and he's never really seen me do any magic besides like some close-up tricks. And so when you guys allowed me to headline the show, and
he came out.
He came out and he actually got to see me do the full show. And it's one of these things where I was like, oh, is he gonna like it? Because I don't know, I'm like, who knows? But he loved the act, and so that was a really, really great moment to just see Stu kind of embrace my sort of weird shtick that I got going on there. But this year I was just a huge for just self-growth, I think. magic-wise and personal-wise. And so, yeah, it was a great year overall. I just loved
Great.
it.
Jackie, at the end of 2018, you were excited about taking up coin magic, which was a highlight, and it helped you further your studies of magic. And you didn't believe that you would be as into the community if it wasn't for coin magic.
Ben's shaking his head.
How do you feel about
Gross.
I say it's still
Have we talked you out of
true.
coin magic yet, or what?
I
What's going
still
on?
like coin magic. I still think coin magic's strongest when it's on the table.
Coin magic, I love coin magic.
I love coin magic when it's done well. Just there's not a lot of coin magicians and not a lot of it's done well. But we'll move on.
It's true.
I
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of listeners right now who are playing with a coin and they're nodding their head agreeing that coin magic is cool, and whatever sleight that they are doing, they are flashing on. That's every time. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
And we can still hear the coin clicking.
There's one coin and it's clinking somehow. Like, what's happening?
I still stand by. When I got into coin magic, I started going to the store more because I was meeting up with people who were showing me stuff more, which is how I met people and started coming out.
Right.
So that's kind of what got me into the community, because if I wasn't learning that, if I wasn't learning anything technical, I don't think I would be looking for people to help me necessarily. So
Coin magic's very technical.
coin magic is very technical, and it brought me out to the store, it brought me into the community, so I stand by that coin magic brought me in.
Totally.
And I still think
It's great.
coin magicians are still better than a lot of card magicians.
Okay, anyways.
Their heads aren't up their
And
asses.
for me...
Oh, there's a lot of card
Oh my
magicians.
goodness, yeah.
There's a
And
lot
they're
of
all
shitty
better.
And all
Okay.
their heads are up their asses.
And for me, my highlight was
about it.
Newest Trick
I love it.
becoming a weekly show, which is interesting because it's just changed, which I think we'll talk about shortly. And not only did it allow me to up the number of performances, but it helped foster a magic community that has allowed him and other Toronto magicians to grow. Interesting. So we've actually just turned Newest Trick from a weekly show into a monthly show, and it used to be twice a month.
Yeah.
Then we went to weekly, and apparently I was real excited about that. And now we're turning it
Was
back.
it weekly for 2 years?
I think about
No.
only a year.
It was
I
only
guess
Yeah.
last year
Only
you
about a
tried
year.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weekly for a little bit more than a year.
Which
It
was
a
fun.
year and a half.
Wasn't it? It was weekly, but then we took off the summer.
It was weekly. Yeah, it's been weekly for just about a year and a half.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
ish,
Yeah, but then we
'cause-
came back and then we did weekly all the way through the summer.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's been like
Almost-
about a
almost
year,
two-
Yeah, a
like
year and a
8
half.
months,
Like,
almost
yeah,
2
yeah,
years.
Yeah. So it's funny
lot of
because
shows.
I know one thing I know about myself is like I'm really good at doing stuff if it has to happen every Thursday or every like that's why this
Right.
podcast comes out every Thursday. Like that's why because I just know Jackie, stop pointing to yourself. That's why but so I was really excited about Newest Trick becoming a weekly thing because I felt like every week I could perform, every week I could get
Right.
better, and I think I did get better, and I think I got
Sure.
to perform a lot, and that felt great. And I think now, as some of my wants change, we're coming closer to having one unique Toronto Magic Company event every single week, which is what Newest Trick may have been holding, almost a placeholder for. Hypothetically, I don't know. This is just a new test. We're giving it a try, but just interesting. Last year I felt like I was really excited about my trajectory as a performer, and this year I'm excited about performing, but I'm also excited about some of those other hats that I'm wearing too. So,
Right.
kind of interesting. This year's low light. So I know we've all done many great and awesome things, but there were many challenges, obviously, for all of us. Everyone is pointing at each other for who should start. So, or Ben, are you saying Jackie's your low light, or she should start?
Honestly, she should start.
Chicks to
I'm just
magic.
wondering. Okay, so you were thrown under the bus, Jackie. What was your low light? What was challenging for you for 2019?
There was like a 3 to 4 month period there where I was talking to Chris actually earlier about this, where I just didn't really care. I didn't hate magic. I didn't want to get out of it, but I did not have that drive to practice or do anything like research or theory or anything along those lines. And I definitely felt it, and I'm feeling it now because I found my copy of a Jeff Lotta's Long Goodbye the other day, and I got super into coin magic, like practicing and everything. I'm sitting there and I'm like, everything is so shit. I'm watching myself and I'm like, I feel it now. Yeah, it's that voice in your head where it was just, I had no drive to practice. I had no drive to do anything. And I regret that period, but there's not much you can do for it. But
Just gotta get through.
yeah, so there's the only thing that really kept me in was the community.
We
Except
forced
for Ben.
We
Yep.
forced you to stay in. They're like, we need you to show up Tuesday night.
Yeah, every Tuesday and every other
And
day
I release
too.
this podcast every Thursday, and yes.
She tried to get out, but
I
we
tried.
pulled her
She's
back.
She's like, I have schoolwork. I need to focus. So we're like, just do it later. Let's go.
Come on, there's card tricks to be learned.
I mean,
Show
my
up
school
early.
are
I need you to
covered.
sit up chairs with us.
But yeah, it was just that period of time where I didn't want to do anything, and I'm feeling it now, and I'm regretting it now. So, but I mean, the community kept me in, and there was moments where I was like, pulled me back in, which is why I'm excited to be starting stuff now.
Yeah.
I picked up cards, so you're happy. Be
Yes.
Reinvigorate.
She's in.
I'm still one of you coin magicians.
You're whispering so close. They're hearing you right in their ears
Coin
saying
magic is
disgusting.
awesome.
Okay,
I
anyways.
agree.
Chris, what about you? What was a low light or something that you struggled with?
To be honest, it was such a great year for Magic that like maybe a low light is okay. Here's one: is I did focus a lot on performance, and it's one of these things where I am actually trying to get back into the creative game of publishing magic tricks. I have a lot of ideas and magic tricks that I've been playing with over the years, and there's tricks and projects that I do want to release myself, but because I've been so heavily releasing everybody else's projects, I haven't had, I guess, enough time to focus on my own magic project and release that. So I guess there's certain projects that I wish I could have released last year, but this year I will be releasing them. So
Great.
it's just another year to kind of get to do it. So, so yeah, it's not really a low light, but it's just, I guess, stuff that I could have put out sooner, but I will be putting it out this year. So.
You know, a quote that I think about all the time is we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and
Right.
underestimate what we can do in 5. And I think about that all the
That's a great
time
quote.
because when I think back to like goals that I've had 3 years ago, for a year from then, I crushed them in a 3-year period, but maybe
Right.
not in a 1-year period. So like I think
Right.
about that where you're like, it's all still on the table. It's just you know
Uh-huh.
a few steps away.
I like that
Yeah,
quote.
I play
It's a
with
great
it.
quote.
I play with it a lot. It lets me procrastinate. For me, you know, one of the lowlights or challenges was I'm very torn. I'm torn between doing more of what I'm good at versus doing things that I want to do. So, you know, the example is like I really love trying to come up with new magic and you know stuff like that, but I want to say almost by definition, but like I am not good at that. Like of all of the skills that someone says like, wow, Jonah has that, like creating a new trick and performing it, like I've had enough newest tricks to know like I am not good at that. Like, but I like it, but I'm not good at it. And I am good at selling tickets to shows, and I am good at marketing, and I am good at producing events and building a community and welcoming people. And so that's one thing that I struggled with this year is saying like, you know, how much time do I want to yell at this piece of paper, not knowing what the goddamn script is and making it struggle. And you know, the quote in the back of my head is the Jamie Ian Swiss quote actually is, you know, him saying like, someone says, oh, I tried to be creative, but I'm not creative. And then, you know, him saying like, how hard did you try? You know, like the Eugene Berger and I think about that. So I think to myself like, okay, I could just try harder and like, I'll find it. Like if I keep working. And then also maybe I should take a step back and take off the rose-colored glasses and say like, okay, what am I really good at and what am I not really good at? And it doesn't mean I have to really change who I am or what I'm doing, but you know, if I focus my efforts in places where I'm good and, you know, like what would make me feel better, performing or bringing the best performer I know to perform and kill that show? Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. So that's something that I kind of struggle with. I guess it's part of identity, but just trying to better see what it is that I'm good at. And
Just to chime in on, you know, you saying that you don't think that you're the best at creating magic and that type of thing. I would say this,
agree.
that I would say this, that like over the last couple of years, you've actually become one of my favorite magicians to jam magic ideas with. Because although you might not be coming up with the idea, to share an idea with you and then have you figure out, you know, the puzzle and come up with ideas from that the initial thing I share with you is great. And you always come up with some really interesting solutions.
I agree.
And so I will say that is something
Dang
that
it.
you're really great at is the problem solving of existing ideas that have issues that need to be solved.
But like, but just for an example, to touch on that, like, I literally think I'm better at that than I am at coming up with a trick
Right,
for
right.
myself. Like, I would rather
a
10
hard
times out
thing.
of 10 someone say to me like, here's something I'm working on, and like
Right.
I think I'm so valuable in that place. But like
Right.
for someone to say like, Jonah, tell me about like the trick that you come like me, like I don't have any ideas like that. Like I don't.
But they all stem from the same area, which is kind of interesting.
I don't know. I think I'm more problem solving than creative. So I think
Right.
like when someone gives me puzzle pieces, I can work with them. When I don't have puzzle pieces, it's very frustrating for me. So, but yes, obviously they're all interconnected and related. But that's something I struggled with. I guess identity and kind of where I'm focusing my effort. Ben, what about you? What was a low light or a struggle in 2019?
Low light or struggle?
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
Get the diary.
There was a lot of really positive stuff that was said, even when we were discussing our lowlights. And although this has been a tough year for me in some ways, again, especially with my relationship with magic, I think it's also given me some clarity, and there's been it's directly led to some of the more positive things, or things that will be the more positive things in 2020. So, there were some lowlights. I mean, the biggest struggle for me is I know that last year I did read beforehand, so I know that last year I spoke about one of my goals was to focus more on my own projects and specifically my own show. And I know that in 2019 I've had sort of my vision boards up, and I'm slowly adding post-it notes to it, but on like a very, very slow rate. And like,
Sorry, just to clarify, that you're referring to adding new tricks.
Adding new tricks or like structuring things together, but like presentational ideas, I just write things on it. But like I have an idea for a kid show that I wanted to do, but I didn't really develop it. And my stand-up show, I knew that there was 2 pieces that I wanted to add to it that I didn't add. And I sort of just moved pieces around in it. And I did shows, but the show itself didn't really change. I added a little bit of music to it, but not really. And I didn't really up the production value. And I didn't really put the time and energy into it that I said I wanted to. And also, to be honest, one of the big challenges was I didn't want to put that time and energy into it. So, I looked for excuses to do other projects and work on other things. It gave me sort of clarity looking at now 2020 and saying like, what do I want to do and how do I want to spend my time and energy? It's got me pretty excited again, if I'm being honest. So yeah, low light was I didn't make the changes to magic I wanted to do, and I focused my energy on my own personal stuff, and I focused my energy on other projects.
So now I'm going to tell you about your lowlights last year and how we think that has changed or grown, or how it has. Yeah, those words. Okay. Ben, you said over the past year you spent a lot of time focusing your time and energy on projects outside of your personal show.
Yeah.
Due to this, you felt like your personal show has fallen behind in terms of quality, and you weren't excited to perform it.
And I'm proud to say that it has fallen behind for 2 years running, baby! Consistency!
Oh my goodness. Great. Well,
This year,
I got a tight 20 minutes now.
it used to be 35, now it's 20. Chris, you said, in a sense, taking a year off performing was a low light. It was odd not performing after doing it for so long, and the decision came from feeling like your old character was not working for you. You felt like the effects were married to this character. However, by taking a step back, you were able to realize that your love for performing and gain a new perspective on who you are as a performer. Do you feel like this year you did a better job of honing into who you were as a performer?
For sure. Honestly, honing in who I am as a human being, like this year was huge for self-growth, I would say. And so
Self-shrinking, you lost a lot of weight.
But yeah, like to hear
He's
that.
100 pounds lighter today than he was when he filmed this a year ago. Is that right? 100?
That's true, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even think about that.
That's crazy.
Again, a year of self-growth.
100
It's like a whole other person was recording here with us, and they're
Oh
gone.
man, I never even thought about that. But yeah, this was a huge year for self-growth, and so yeah, to hear myself say that, because I forgot what I said last year, so to hear you read that, it felt like I was, right at that place I needed to be, and it showed because, again, this year was huge for me as far as just learning how to just love and accept myself and go out there and just embrace what it is I want to do. And so 2020 will be a really fun year of just getting out there and exploring the passions.
Jackie, at the end of 2018, you regretted not showing people the material you were working on and regressing back to social anxiety tendencies. And when you did show material, you often showed effects that you were confident in rather than new material. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm up there with Ben. That still true. I still don't show anyone shit.
Yo, you've been killing it with
You've been
like all
jamming
the
pretty
performances
hard.
I've been seeing. So like,
Oh, on stage, yeah. But,
oh,
like,
is this like close-up magic?
coins and cards, I still don't
okay.
necessarily. Yeah, today I not necessarily jamming. It was getting people to help me with moves, but
As someone watching from the outside, it looks like you blew that low. Like in 2019, you killed that resolution.
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
like
Did
you
I?
were on
So,
stage.
yeah, yeah.
You were
I think so,
you
too.
also you
Interacting with
developed like
community, like-
original material for stage. You tried pieces that you stopped doing on stage, and then switched to other pieces. You experimented with different versions. Like you really experimented and you really showcased it. And you were a constant at jam sessions. Like you know. Always working on new stuff. I watched you today. You were jamming out with like everybody's around working
entire
on card
time,
magic.
like-
So like
Yeah, pretty strong.
card magic, not
would
card
say
magic.
you
yeah,
killed
I
it.
learned
You killed it.
50 different tips to improve my push through, and I don't know if any of them are
great.
helpful, but thanks, guys.
But being aware
10
of all of them,
ten
is
of them
nice.
are right.
10 of them are right,
10 of
yeah.
them
All
are
right, with dead.
And for me, at the end of 2018, I didn't take seriously the sheer amount of creativity required to complete all the projects that I took on in that year. I still feel it this year because kind of to reiterate what I was saying earlier, but all of these things, to be a performer, to be a podcaster, to be a show producer, they all can require a full life's work of thing, and I'm trying to do all of them. So it does sometimes I feel very proud of it, but sometimes I feel like if only I had so many more hours in my day to work on my act, if only I had so many more hours on the day to work on the podcast, if only I had so many more hours to work on the Toronto Magic Company, and like, again, so happy to be doing all three of those things. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I do, that thing does still loom over my head where like, wherever I choose to put my work, I'm choosing not to put it in other places. And I feel it. Sometimes I feel like, wow, I wish my performance grew more. I'm really happy with the Toronto Magic Company, really happy with my podcast, my performance. And then sometimes the other way, I'm like, wow, I'm really spending quite a lot of time on this trick and like, hope it works out because like what a waste of time compared to, I mean, not really, but those kind of feelings. So I definitely still feel that kind of thing. Now let's talk about our 2020 Magic New Year's resolutions. And resolutions I think get a bad rap because everyone's like, I'm gonna lose weight and go to the gym, and then they don't do it. But I think this is a little bit different. We're not talking about like, oh, like this year I'm gonna like get a good job and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna like, I think we're in a good place right now. We've just spoken about what we've done good and bad in the last few years. We've all kind of gotten our heads in the right place for 2020. And I don't think we should think about this as like, this big goal that we have that we hope we do, and if we don't, it'll be a disappointment or a failure. But I think this is something we should look at and say, we're all going to be sitting at this table once again in 2021, whether there's a mic on or not, unless any of us are murdered.
I was about to say,
yes,
one of us is
I
gonna be dead.
have been trying to kill Ben.
But we're all going to be sitting at this table, and right now we're sitting at the table with peers, people who support us in our community and on these projects, what we're doing, and I think everybody's positives and everybody's negatives, we've all been able to kind of nod along and say like, yes, I totally resonate with that. I resonate with what not performing is like. I resonate with performing a lot is like, I resonate with being like, I guess my magic isn't different than it was in a previous year, and also with all the growth. And same thing, I remember being where you were and being like so excited to start performing, and I see you guys nodding along, me talking about these things. So I think we're all just each other, in different ways. So let's talk about our resolutions for 2020.
I'm excited for 2020. And like one of the things, so like we talked about in the lowlights, was that I was struggling to like really want to perform my magic. And I think it's because I realized that like I've been doing it for a little while now, and as much fun as it is, and it's great, maybe I need a little bit of a break, and I still want to perform. I still want to make money doing it. I still want to create magic. I just want a little bit more balance. So one of the things I'm doing in the new year is I've already booked some lecture tours. I have some magic products that I've been working on for many, many years that are like, I'm starting to actually get the ingredients together to like start making these stews and release them.
Is it food or?
That was a brutal analogy. I was like, as I was saying, I was like, oh man,
the ingredients for my magic
stew.
stew. You're like, I don't want this. I don't want your product.
I trusted my brain to put together something that would be
Magic
clever,
stew.
and it let me down so
Ben
bad.
is quitting magic to become a chef.
chef.
That's
No,
what
so
he's trying to tell you.
I'm gonna
pot,
focus my
stew
magic
pie.
energies. I mean, like people. I like releasing stuff for the magic community. I like creating magic that's fun to do. Not because I'm like, oh, is it practical? Is it this? Does it like X, Y, and Z for whatever
idea.
reasons. Like, I just want to do magic the way that I want to do it, that makes me happy, that's fun to do, and share it with people who will enjoy it, and discuss it in the ways I want to discuss it. So there's been some projects that have been in the back of my mind for many, many years, things that I really put a lot of time and thought into that I just never released because I was focused on other projects. So I'm going to get those underway. I'm going to be doing some more lecturing, getting my third set of notes out, I also, I'm going to work on some new magic for myself, but if I do, it's not necessarily a priority. My hope is, and we'll see, as we look back in maybe I won't say it. I've made some moves towards some things outside of magic as well,
Right.
and I won't say what they are. If they happen, that'd be great. If they don't happen, then I'll do other things as well. But I'm excited for 2020 because the thing that makes me happy is the community and the TMC, and that seems to be going great. And I'm excited to put more energy into it, and that's growing. So I'm seeing the results of the work that we're putting into it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm excited for me to find magic that I love again, that makes me happy and excited. So I'll still perform and do magic professionally, but I'm also doing some other things so that I can make magic just passionate. And there was a quote, I don't remember where it's from, and then I'll pass it to somebody else, but someone said the difference, and I love this, the difference between a pro magician and a professional or an amateur magician is the amateur does magic because they want to, and a professional does it because they have to. Right? And there are times when I don't want to do magic and I go out and I have to try to rock the stage. Or I have to do magic in a certain way that I love Ricky Jay, man. I would love to do super long-winded esoteric. I want to talk for 15 minutes about I want to, I listen to my ramble,
Jackie's
right?
pointing at the podcast as in, you are talking for
Yeah, so I want to tell the stories I want to tell. I want to talk about weird horror movies.
Right.
And I don't want to worry about okay, is this going to play for audiences of all demographics in this corporate family-friendly place on 8 p.m. on a Friday night? I want to talk about Nosferatu and horror movies and other crazy shit. That's what I want. So I'm going to refocus energy. 2020 is going to be fun. It's going to be a bomb. It's going to be amazing, and I'm excited for it. So that's...
Next one is Jackie. Jackie, what are you excited about? What is your news resolution for 2020, or magic resolution?
I guess my resolution for 2020 is to be a little bit more confident in showing people stuff and sharing my opinion and material I'm working on, and not doing that, I guess.
So doing that.
Doing that, yeah.
Nice.
Double negative. Double negative.
Yeah, just doing more stuff, keeping it going, and focusing on stuff that I want to do, and finding, not forcing myself to do it necessarily, but because I'm not doing this professionally, I'm an amateur, so I want to do the things I want to do to ride on the back of Ben's point. So yeah.
It's funny.
Keeps it fun.
I know how hard it is to try to share your own stuff, and I know, but what's so funny is every time you do it, it's a positive, right? It is. That's what learn at the very worst case scenario is you have a good performance where you do certain things really well and you learn in certain other areas, and people are, or you always get off stage and people are excited by what you did, or they want to work in it, or they have ideas. The more, and it's amazing to see what you being part of the community and sharing your ideas has meant. Sincerely, we see that it's bringing out people, and people are excited to come and hang out. And I think we didn't talk about we're starting a jam session. We didn't talk about the newest trick much that we're cutting it back to. I guess it's not.
He
Really.
did. He did.
You weren't listening.
No, I know you were talking about it, but I mean more we didn't explain because one of the things you mentioned that you loved that it was that doing it weekly meant that we were building this community because it was this regularly occurring thing.
Great community.
And so we're switching it to monthly, and one of the big concerns we had doing that is that what effect will that have on the community? Because now people can't just show up every Tuesday for a thing. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we've added is a jam session where it's not a show, it's a safe space for magicians and people who love magic to come together to talk about ideas, to workshop. Yeah. And I bring it up because you're one of the people that people are excited to come and jam with.
That's so weird.
No, but we're at the magic store today, and you were always busy with people doing and jamming out card work ideas and sharing stuff, and there's a reason people are excited to do it. So share your ideas, keep doing it, keep taking, you took the initiative on so many things this year in the magic community. Keep doing it.
Chris, what is your 2020 magic resolution?
Magic resolution, I would say to just start performing my one-man show again. It's one of these things where last year you guys gave me the stage time to develop it again. And then at the end of the year, you gave me 30 minutes of stage time to put it all together. The full show I want to do is definitely longer than 30 minutes, so it's a little hard to condense it all into that. But it's one of these things where just getting back into the groove of that was really great. And again, it was at the end of the year, so it's a great sort of snowball to just kind of keep rolling and make it grow bigger throughout the year, even though snow will melt in the summertime and then there's no snowball. No! But it's one of these things
Make
where...
it into a stew.
into a stew. Chicken pot stew. No, but yeah, this year I just want to share the show again because, again, I want to... it's a whole been a mindset flip where before I was so nervous to get out there and share things and it was like, oh, are people gonna like it and blah 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 and all this self-deprecating stuff. But again, it's been such a great year of self-growth and just confidence boosting that I'm excited to share it because I really want to kind of bring this light to people's world, and it's a light that it brings me, and I know it'll bring that light to other people, and so I want to get out there and just share that light with everybody.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
For me, for 2020, I'm thinking quite a bit about what I was saying about those hats, the different hats that I'm wearing, and I'm quite proud of what I'm doing in each of the each of those fields as a performer, as a producer, as a podcaster. But I'm also feeling like, I guess each of them still has work to be done. And it's interesting because the bulk of my effort in terms of my time, I spend working on the podcast and working on the Toronto Magic Company. And the bulk of my income comes from being an entertainer. So I think that's a really interesting thing for me to look at. And I would like to, I don't want to say shift it because that makes it seem like I want to make less money as an entertainer, which I don't. But I think I would like to continue my impact and my growth in those other areas of magic that are not just performing. And I think that excites me a lot. It excites me to be a producer, to put on big and unique events. And it excites me to, this podcast is getting more and more exciting. And with releasing cool projects through the podcast that potentially make some money, it allows me to do more interesting things with the podcast, that cost money, but that I might have to spend to be able to put this resource out in the world. And, I'm seeing the impacts of it. Same with the Toronto Magic Company, like Ben said, to be able literally to physically see the community change and grow and move with us. And we have people in our community, just a random shout out, who knows if they're listening, but to Colin and Kat, but there's a perfect example of why I'm so excited that the Toronto Magic Company exists, and two people found magic, found us, and now they love magic more than they did before. They perform more, they're plugged in, and I'm just I'm so happy that things like that exist.
They broke their performance ice. The performance ice, is that what you're saying? On
That's
newest
probably the best one. That's probably the best one we were looking for. Yeah.
Oh, because there's other. Oh, yes,
there it is.
They broke their ice with performing on newest trick because I hosted one and Jackie hosted one.
Yeah, Kat was on my old female lineup.
So I guess
really cool.
I know being a little bit rambly about it, but I'm happy about what all three of those things are doing as a performer, as a manager, community, show producer, and as a podcaster. And I guess I'm hoping that my impact in the world of magic goes up in those two areas, producing and I'd love to continue performing. I want to keep doing amazing events and stuff like that. But if someone gave me a schedule to say, you're flying around the world to do shows everywhere like that, I don't know that I would be like, yay! I think I would be like, oh, can't I produce it, or can I interview those people, or so I don't know, but that's what's on my mind is right. I'd like to make a bigger splash in the world of the producing and the podcast.
Cool.
I don't know if that made sense. It was a little random.
Yeah, it did, and you touched on something that one of the cool things about the Toronto Magic Company is that we get to put on different shows, which let us explore the way that we present and share magic with audiences, and so we've got to look at some of the experiences, how come magic is really, really fun to do and enjoyable to do sometimes. Yeah. And how come it isn't others? And the thing is there are certain places that I've had the and honestly, I'm the honor and the privilege to perform, and I've gotten a lot out of them. But they're environments that aren't necessarily conducive to the type of magic that I want to do. Yeah. So, I'm sort of at odds where I'm moving in directions that I want to do. And so Toronto Magic Company is sort of giving us the chance to do magic,
shape,
I think.
To pick the venue and the experience and the everything, and then shape magic that we're proud to put out.
Right. And so looking at our lowlights over the last year, it's like some of these lowlights are really like we were in things where we didn't grow or we didn't have the passion because we weren't really interested in this one area, which means we can now refocus on things on other areas. So moving something from weekly to monthly so we can focus energy on jams or other shows or other programming, and taking time and energy away from one project and moving it into another area so that we can sort of plant the seeds we want and then grow the later trees. I don't know. Pretty exciting.
I feel it, and I'm excited for all of our 2020s. Let me tell you all what your 2019 resolutions were.
I'm excited. Let's hear it.
So, Ben, your 2019 magic resolution.
Be taller.
You said, no, it has to be something possible. And
No, you had my heels. You got taller for a bit.
so you said,
Does it say boulder?
You're definitely bolder.
Good.
So it says, last year your goal was to focus on creating more original magic. However, he didn't perform a lot of the material that he developed. This year, he vows to implement his changes rather than just talk about them.
What happens if I break the vow?
We kill you.
This is why people don't like New Year's resolutions.
I hate them. I take it back. They suck.
Chris, did you have any comments or thoughts on that? I mean, you kind of already touched on it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's... I love coming up with weird, silly ideas and then not following through on them. And there's like there's one here. I'll just one that I was just thinking about now. Thinking about like fun magic is, I had an idea and it's super reasonable. Like I could do this. But we talked about doing it newest trick and I never tried it. You have a box on stage before the show. People are given pieces of paper and you say, think of something amazing the magician could do in the show, and then put it in the box. So later in the show, you're like, now is the fun time. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to reach inside. We take out one. Whatever
Eat a balloon.
And so you reach outside and you open up and it says, lay an egg. Right. And you're like, well, that's some messed up bullshit. Then you're like, okay, you take a wine glass and you rip up the thing that says lay an egg and you put it in a cup and you shake it and it becomes an egg. And then you break it and you drink it, right? Or don't drink it. You crack it and don't drink it.
You break it and you drink it, right?
And put in just weird stuff. So I have a notebook full of these weird fun ideas that I really just want to try and do them. And I'm not necessarily going to go into a wealthy person's house for their 60th anniversary and do weird stuff. I don't know. So I do want to do more of my original stuff. I think that's going to come through in the lecture notes and the lecturing and the stuff for magicians. I don't know, rambling answer, but
great. Chris, your 2019 magic resolution was you plan to start performing again now that you have taken time off. You did that quite a bit. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, honestly, it was really great because the reason why I took time off in the first place was because I had developed a whole character that I grew out of, and I felt that the material was married to that character. And so to now get back on stage and try out this material that I love and have honed and just adapt it to my own self that who I am now, it was really great to see that the material still worked, and it is, it wasn't married to the character. I just thought it was, but it's married to me, right? It's married to who I am, and so it was great to finally realize that this year, and so I'm ready to go out and share that stuff this upcoming year with everybody.
Fantastic. Jackie, your goal was to figure out who you are and how that relates to your performance.
We're getting there.
That's figuring out who you are is more than a 1-year journey.
Yeah. 365 days and I'll know who I am.
I'm 23. I'm changing still. I'm figuring out where I want to go. I did a 180 on my career path from law school to television.
Law school.
Media, right? I love that you're laughing at that, Chris. Everything's changing, but I have an idea of who I'm comfortable with playing on stage at this moment. So
that's good.
That's great.
And
it's a hard one to figure out.
Yeah, and I'm beginning to figure out which tricks I actually enjoy doing, and now it's a matter of figuring out how to.
It's awesome.
Just being in tune with your tastes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my 2019 magic resolution was wordy, to be honest. But I said
I tried my best.
Felt like my character has developed over the past year, so some of the magic he is currently doing doesn't necessarily fit with who he has become. In the new year, he plans to look at who he has become and what magic better suits this new character. You know, I think I have done that quite a bit. Even though I'm doing quite a bit of the same magic, I've changed, I think, a little bit of it around. And anybody who has been following the podcast quite religiously probably sees the trend in the last 2 to 3 months of some of the questions that I've been asking people about what they want to express and what they want their magic to mean and say, and if it has to or what it should. And I think that's because I've struggled with that. You know, I've struggled with saying, like, I would love my magic to say something, but, like, I hate shoehorning principles and, like, I hate shoehorning themes and things like that. And I think I spoke to a lot of magicians, and whether it's the healthy thing or not, I feel like I got the permission, you know, by speaking to people and hearing different points of view, that some that were very different from mine, but some that really resonated with ways that I felt I was maybe wrong for doing. I feel like I got the permission to do magic the way that I want to. So I know that may be a peculiar way to put it, but I do feel that I've done that, and I feel like when I am looking at new magic, I know what lens I'm viewing it in, and it's quite different than the lens that I viewed it in before. So yes, I'm still eating balloons, and I love that, and I'm happy with it and excited about it. But I do feel that I kind of got the permission or did enough of the research to kind of know what I can and can't do and what I feel comfortable doing. So I do feel like I made a little bit of splash there. Last year, we all ended with a word of wisdom. So while I would like to put this part at the end, I think this year's words of wisdom should be at the end. So can I tell you your last year's words of wisdom?
Yes.
So Ben said, I don't have to be here, I get to be here, which I think is quite beautiful and a nice reminder in the world of magic. Chris, you said just enjoy doing things.
Stand by that.
But enjoy doing magic and having the fun. Jackie, you said don't be afraid to show people what you're working on.
Do as I say.
I'm glad you took your advice. I think you did. And I said you need to actually do more than just read and watch magic. You need to actively implement your ideas and what you're learning to actually grow in your magic, which is something that I still feel and see. And the secret to getting good at magic is actually working on it. So now let's talk about our this year's words of wisdom. Chris, what is your 2020 words of wisdom?
I would say don't be so hard and critical on yourself, and honestly, self-love is everything. This year was a huge kind of step in self-growth, and it came from learning how to love and accept myself, because it's something, again, over the last several years has just been a whirlwind of just nonsense up in the head, and so this year was a very big year to learn how to calm down all that noise and really just learn to not judge myself so harshly. And when you do that, it allows you to take that energy and put it out into the world in a positive way. And so, just self-love is everything.
Self-love, that's fantastic. Yeah. Ben, do you have your 2020 words of wisdom? You had it and then you forgot it. No problem, we'll come back to you again.
No, I don't have a succinct one.
You can say it, neither did Jonah last year.
No, but there's like 3 different things that I'm thinking.
Mush them into one.
Keep thinking. Jackie, what is your 2020 words of wisdom?
Embrace your community.
Awesome.
Oh, you literally stole the word. I was going to say embrace change.
You can still say embrace change. I'm just saying embrace your community, because that's what's going to allow you to change and grow, and you'll find people that you enjoy hanging out with. And yeah.
I love that. Ben, third attempt.
Embrace your community. I was gonna say like embrace change and like embrace transformation.
Accept change. There, now you can.
No, but more than accept, like
embrace,
like be excited for it, like hug it like it's a friend, like I'm still trying to figure out how to enjoy the present and enjoy time that you're not working without thinking about work you should be doing, and vice versa, enjoying work while not thinking about wanting to go home and be on your couch, or whatever. So I want to embrace the moment and I want to be happy in the now, but I'm really more excited about what I'm going to accomplish, moving forward, and what new things are going to come. And I want to take on new challenges in 2020. I want to explore new fields in 2020. I want to work in new environments and interact in new environments. I'm excited to change. And I want to be like a butterfly, and I think I'm coming out of my cocoon.
Anyways, for me, my words of wisdom is plan big. Like, bite off more than you can chew. Like, I think...
As your business partner, that scares me.
I disagree. I think if we plan twice as many events we should and one fails, but we were more ambitious and planned bigger and went huge, like, that's a win. And I think, like, you know, a lot of these things that I'm talking about is deciding what my identity is and what my hat is. And I've always felt like I'm so happy to be doing twice as many things as people do, or to be so busy that, like, I literally just when I finish doing one thing, I have a million other things. And that's because I'm excited about what we can get done. I don't remember if I said it on air or off air. I think on, but we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 5. And I think, like, you know, dream big, plan big. Like, I think, you know, Ben and I brought up some events and Ben's like, really? Like, should we do that? And I'm like, we got to take risks to grow big. And, like, you know, I went on a whim and booked a ticket to fly across the world and you know, like, plan big, do big things. Like, you know, now's the time we can make a splash, a real serious splash, and plan. I guess plan big is better than bite off more than you can chew. That's got failure embedded into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go with, like, plan big or be ambitious. Be ambitious. That's probably
right. Yeah, ambition is.
Yeah.
That's a better phrase.
Yeah, that's more exciting.
That's less scary for you?
Yes.
Be ambitious.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other one has failure
Always
built
bite
into it,
off
but
more than
I think,
you
like,
chew.
be ambitious. And,
I love it.
You know,
Choke
plan
on your
big.
ambition.
Is there anything any of you want to say to anybody else before we go away?
Hat.
What?
What?
What was that?
Well, you mentioned hats about 400 times, so now you can post it that it's a drinking game, and we'll hit him at the very end with a hat.
Well, with that, thank you guys so much for joining me for this. This was very lovely, and we will probably sooner, but we will see you all at this table in 2021.
1 year from today.
This
year
exact table.
from today.
November 3rd. What?
November 3rd,
Anyways,
2021.
bye.
Hat.
Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode, and I hope, of course, that you learned something. Remember, keep in mind, don't forget that I want to know your 2020 New Year's Magic resolution. Post it anywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email me, yell it out your front door. As long as you think I can hear it, tag me at Discourse in Magic, and I'm going to come say hello and tell you what I feel and if I'm excited for you, which, spoilers, I am. Thanks for being here. Hope you liked the bonus. See you Thursday. Peace.